the success of the Parish Development Model. Now, at 3 separate events in the last month, the President had pledged to arrest all those sabotaging the program while also making resolutions on repayment. However, there have been repeated questions on why the program is struggling. Now, to shed light on this, we do have Dr. Edward Katende, a technical advisor and implementer of the Parish Development Model at the Ministry of Local Government. Good evening to you, sir, and welcome to Interview Weekend Edition.
Good evening. Thank you for hosting me.
Now, there are reports from across the country that indicate that many are yet to receive the PDM funds or Parish Development Model funds. Yeah. Why the delays?
The delays are actually a result of so many factors. First of all, the Parish Development Model, specifically on the revolving fund, is establishing what you would call a parish bank at each and every parish. So the first activity was to ensure that that bank is known, so which is the Parish Development Model Circle. And the process of establishing a circle with cooperative in Uganda is a lengthy process. Then, after that was done, the Minister of Finance had to send money to the circle, which must have had an account in a supervised financial institution. As we speak, over 580 billion has reached the different circles across the country, except for only 9 parishes. And the Minister of Finance has assured us that by the end of this month, all of the circles in Uganda will have received 100 million shillings for this year. So now when you have a bank in place, this is what the banks called Know Your Customer, KYC. And even for the PDM, that has been necessary because this money is not going for every Ugandan. It will go to all Ugandans that are in the subsistence sector. So determining the subsistence household then became an issue. So government had to register all the households across the country. Unfortunately, in some cases, the data which was collected was insufficient. To use an objective methodology that was determined by the Minister of ICT and OBOS in terms of scientifically identifying these subsistence households. So now, when we realized that that process was delaying people from accessing their money, we have now sent out new directives or new guidelines that instead of relying on a computer system to tell us who is subsistence in a given parish and who is not, we now use the people themselves because the people know each other. In what we call
to identify who is subsistence.
To identify who is subsistence. In a particular, in your village, you know the poor amongst you. You know where they live. But also, the revolving fund is going to be capacity it will follow capacity to repay. But at the same time, it is also about the character because there is no collateral involved. And you're borrowing that money to start repaying after 2 years. So your people, the people in your village, know your character better than a computer. So they can tell that Katende is a Mliaza man. He has been borrowing from us and he wasn't repaying. He has failed to pay rent and he's been running around with landlord's money. So once the community has identified the people that they feel deserve to access the money, then they can go to their circles and apply. So that is where we are now. So the money is now in the parishes. So that parish bank is there.
And how many parishes are we talking about?
We have 10,594.
And you highlighted that only 9 of these...
Only 9 are yet to be cleared by the Minister of Finance. The rest have been cleared. Over 10,495 have received the money. Those that may not have received the money is in the system.
Or what could be the reason why they have not yet received their money?
For the 9?
Yes, for the 9.
There are a number of reasons. One of them is that some had given contradicting names. For example, the name could be
Names of the parish or?
Of the name of the circle.
Of the circle.
And as you know, in banking, if the name that you have in a bank does not tally with the name that you have on your registration documents, there is a sign of fraud somewhere. But those few local governments, the 9 local governments, are being reached by the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Local Government to ensure that our people in those 9 local government, or those 9 circles, do not miss the opportunity before the year ends. But across, Minister of Finance has assured us that the balance to top up the 1 trillion should be in those banks before the end of the financial year.
Now, this program, if you had during the preamble that I gave, has seen so many people arrested, and even the president himself has reassured and said that more people are yet to be arrested. Kindly tell us what is really going on.
Traditionally, government, every time government starts an initiative of this nature, people warm up to steal the money. And the president has been passing that money through the hands of civil servants over years. And why now do we go to the parish and directly to the parish? Is that historically, money has been eaten by civil servants at all levels, from the center, the district, and sub-county. By the time it reaches our poor people, it is gone. So with the PDM, we said, no, the money must go directly to the parish. However, the culture was still there. So some people had not realized that the system is changing. So they started to even eat the little one, the small one that had gone to the district coffers. And those few have been arrested. But I don't think it is also true that it is widespread corruption at that level. While they have arrested a few people, the message from the National Secretariat and also the President and our ministers is that if you eat parish model money, we will get you. And you have to repay that money. So while we have a few rotten tomatoes, there are actually very many good tomatoes out there. Okay. And the money is there in the bank accounts.
Well, as we conclude this conversation, it has been a year since this program started. Yes. Tell us, where do you expect to see the parish development model a year from now?
The last year was mainly an establishment phase. So now the next 1 year is going to be consolidation. We will be able to see our people who have borrowed start selling their produce. If you borrowed it to look after chicken, you will have started selling. And a year from now, we expect a number, at least 1 million people, to have borrowed from the fund, are using that money to run successful enterprises, with, of course, support of both state and non-state actors across the country.
Well, thank you, Dr. Edward Katende. He's a technical advisor and implementer of the Parish Development Model at the Ministry of the Local Government.